Hello, I'm Marguerite Thompson, Director of Adult Formation and Social Justice here at Good Shepherd. Welcome to our second Sunday of Lent reflection on the Gospel. In our Gospel story, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up to the mountain and pray. But by the end of that scripture passage, they fell silent and did not at that time tell anyone what they had seen. Just looking at this story, we can see hallmarks of a numinous experience, a vision, something quite beyond ordinary experience, something very real, but something suspended in time. In the book of Hebrews, it says, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God." Most of us, if we have such a profound experience as Peter, James, and John, we don't speak of them to others. We may think of ourselves as, well, that's just some fancy in my mind somehow, or others are going to think us a fool if we should say such a thing. Or it could even unnerve us enough to just dismiss it, and it's like, I'm not going there. It would take some significant psychological stability to not be overwhelmed or to be frightened into silence. As a people in a modern culture, due to the many things pulling at us, we often have not grown within ourselves this capacity, this spiritual capacity to take in such an experience, something so divergent from our ordinary. We are accustomed to a literal perspective. Ours is more of a scientific worldview. It makes no sense if we cannot explain most phenomenon. And yet, experiences like this have a very real effect on us, profoundly, oftentimes for the better. Realizing more deeply that we live in the midst of a mystery. So growing our tolerance for this beyond can affect our perceptions, our attitudes, our wisdom, and how we speak in the world. I have read of people who have had a near-death experience, and they often speak of no longer being afraid of death. Death, of course, is quite primal and visceral. We may have belief in God and faith in the afterlife, yet instinctively we are afraid. We're afraid of the unknown. And yet for many who have had this highly stressful experience of near death, they have found a newfound joy. Of course, a near-death experience is an extreme example of an encounter with the divine. Whenever we are present, profoundly present, we can experience the transcendent. It may come bidden, or it may come suddenly and surprisingly in a powerful way. From the small recognition of the true beauty of a flower, or the face of someone who you know or you don't know, but who elicits from your heart a flurry of thoughts about the amazement of humanity, or even a quiet moment of prayer when you realize, in a most profound way, that you are not alone. Recognizing the depths of the Spirit in our lives and being open and receptive to God speaking to us can indeed put us on a path to second chances, both for ourselves and for what we are able to give to others. How so? When we expand our spiritual capacity to hold multiple perspectives at the same time, to look beyond the ordinary and open ourselves to the wideness of God, we create greater patience, tolerance, and appreciation for everyone and everything. We can recognize with wonder that God is working in ourselves and others. Opening ourselves and accepting a posture of amazement can enable us to really hear what God's chosen one is saying to us. I hope you enjoy your conversations.
Second chances, second chances. Everybody's a girl, second chances. You'll be fine when you're restored. Darkest circumstances.